Popularity is not relevancy. So you want to do something fun? You want to do something fun? You want to do something outrageous, crazy? Totally out there? Do this. I've done this many, many times, and it's been so much fun. I love it. So next time you go to a restaurant, especially a restaurant that you've never been to before. Now, what do you typically do when you go to a restaurant that you've never been to before? It's simple, right? You look at the menu, and then most of the time, what people do, because people are mimetic and they want to do things that other people do, you ask the server, you say, what's popular? What do people like to eat here? And the server can answer that question very easily, typically. Oh, this is popular, this is one of our best sellers, blah, blah, blah. Very easy answer, right? Now, for fun, just for fun, next time you go to this restaurant you've never been to before, don't even look at the menu. Just say to the server, what's the least popular item on the menu? What is it that nobody orders? Nobody. No one. Not even one person. Like, hardly anybody ever orders this. And 9 times out of 10, first of all, the server is taken aback. They go, what do you mean? You want something that nobody else orders? And you're like, yeah, what does nobody order? Now, a lot of times they fall back on, well, everything's good. Everything's good, because they don't want to focus on anything in particular. They just want you to, like, go ahead and order something and get out of my face, right? I mean, a lot of people are like that. So, but sometimes they will actually say to you, well, this steak salad, hardly anybody ever orders it. Or this thing, hardly ever anybody ever orders that. I hardly ever anybody actually orders that meal. So order it. Go ahead and order it. I mean, how much could it possibly be? Like $15, $20, whatever. Depends on the restaurant, of course. Depends on the restaurant. But I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if you received this meal and it was actually really good. It's probably not something you would normally eat. It's not something anybody would normally eat. That's why it's the least popular item on the menu. But I wouldn't be surprised. Not at all. If it was really good. I've done that many times, and I have had amazing meals. Really, really good things. Now, I've had some bad things too, sure. But I have had some amazing meals. Things that I never would have eaten before. Like there was this one crazy breakfast salad where the bacon and the egg were at the bottom of the salad and greens were on top. And then there was salad dressing and croutons on the top of this thing. It was crazy, but it was really good. So what am I trying to say here? Simple. Google. How did Google come about? Where did Google come from? Well, Google's original algorithm was something called PageRank. And what was PageRank, you ask, if you don't know what PageRank is? It's pretty simple. Basically what it did is it had a spider go out there and look at all these websites, right? And it put all these websites in an index. And then what it did is it said, if people link to something, if people link to a website, then it's pretty likely that that website has pretty good information, because people wouldn't link to a website unless that website had really good information. So say, for example, you had a site on skiing, right? So you were a ski aficionado and you talked about skiing, and you talked about routes, and you talked about rides, you talked about mountains, and you talked about equipment, and you talked about all these things. And you had a website that had all this information because, you love skiing and you want to share that information with everybody. So other websites would link to you saying, this is a really good site on skiing. This is a really good site on skiing. This is a really good site. So all these websites would be linking to you going, hey, this guy knows his stuff on skiing. So Google would look at all of these websites and go, hey, a lot of people are linking to this site on skiing. I guess it's probably pretty good, because human beings have looked at it and they said, that's probably a pretty good site. Otherwise, I wouldn't be linking to it. I wouldn't be driving my viewers, my website browsers, to this site unless it was good. So it assumed, the Google PageRank algorithm assumed that because people linked to a site, the site must have been good, right? That was their assumption. And that's where PageRank came from. So at its core, the algorithm is popularity equals relevance. The more popular something is, the more relevant it is, the better it is. Because if you think about it, Google is all about relevance. Search engines should be about relevance. They're supposed to take your query and show you the most relevant websites which pertain to your query. That is, if you ask me, the main reason why search engines exist. They are here for that particular fact. That's why they're here. Otherwise, what's the point, right? So, what ends up happening is that model ends up being lifted and shifted in all of these different things. All social media is based on the same model. If it's popular, it must be relevant. If more people think it's right, then it must be good. So it correlates. There's correlation. People have correlated popularity with quality. And the reality is that popularity does not equal quality. In fact, some of the best stuff comes from less popular places. And this can be proven by just going to Google and searching, and then when most people just stop at page 1, keep going. Go into the guts of Google. Go into page 15, 20, all the stuff that's further down. And you wouldn't believe what great stuff you're going to see. Amazing stuff that was never surfaced by Google because it wasn't popular enough. But it was great. See what I'm saying? This is an epidemic across the board. It's on X, where you have smaller creators, people who have smaller followers, can be creating the most amazing content, but it hardly ever gets seen because people are always following the big numbers. It's the same on Facebook. It's the same on Instagram. It's the same on every social media. Popularity equals good, and that is not necessarily the case. Well, you can argue with me, and I would love for you to argue with me. If you disagree, if you think popularity is the number one indicator if something is really good, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. I would really like a counter argument to that fact, because from my expectation, from my belief, from my view of the world, there is so much that we are missing out on because it's not popular. And it's purposely not being shown to us because it's not popular. Only the popular stuff gets to us. And that is a mistake. We need to go and dig in to the less popular stuff and bring up the relevance of all of that stuff that is less popular and still amazing. So if you're a startup founder and you're interested in creating a search engine, and I know a lot of people are complaining about Google because of this controversy from last week, and I hear that Elon Musk is going to be creating a new search engine just to go against what's happening with Google. If you're going to be doing that, then make sure that it's not popularity equals good. Make sure that the quality of even smaller things, smaller accounts, people who are less popular, the quality stuff bubbles to the top. I would love to see a search engine where that happens, and it's not just the most popular things up at the very top. That's it for me for today. See you next time, and until then, don't forget to think future.